The purpose of this video is to explain the project cycle. The teacher liaison leading the impact team creates lasting change in their schools via a year-long goal aligned to the school's mission. The goal is broken up into projects that are completed throughout the year. A project is an aligned, actionable task based on your team's goals. And the project cycle is the process of completing the project from planning to executing to reflecting. The project cycle is designed so that a team can focus on a specific task that can be accomplished in 1 to 2 months. After each project is complete, the cycle restarts. Impact teams should complete 2 to 5 projects in a school year, all culminating in accomplishing the year-long goal. Here's an example of a year-long goal and the projects that will ensure the goal is met. This impact team has decided to focus on MTSS. The goal for this team is to improve MTSS processes in order to ensure that 80% of students in Tier 2 meet their growth goals as measured by the NWEA. In order to accomplish this goal, they've broken it up into 3 projects. In Project 1, the impact team will complete a landscape analysis to survey and observe current MTSS practices in the building. In the second project, the impact team will create a system for data collection and analysis. In the third project, the impact team will create a PD to brainstorm interventions and help teachers provide interventions to students. After each project is complete, the impact team will share the information with their schools. Through these 3 project cycles, the impact team hopes to accomplish their year-long goal. This is what the team forming stage and the project cycle look like. Team forming occurs first and happens in the beginning of the year, and it is not repeated. It's about setting intention by forming the team, creating the year-long goal, brainstorming projects, deciding on projects to complete to accomplish the goal, and ensuring admin buy-in so that as you embark on the project cycle, everyone is on board. The TL, or teacher liaison, plays a dominant role in this stage because team members' roles and responsibilities aren't yet clear. So then we begin the actual project cycle. The project cycle happens in 3 phases that are repeated for each new project. During the first phase, planning the project, the team will research project potential, analyze the current needs, and divvy up responsibilities to complete the project. The next phase is executing. This is where the work is largely occurring outside of meeting times. Tasks are delegated based on roles and responsibilities, and the TL is checking in with the team and updating administration, as well as measuring progress and reviewing metrics for the project. The final phase is reflecting on the project. The TL gets feedback on the roles and processes and reflects on the process and outcomes with the impact team, their admin, and their coach. They'll share the learning with the school community and restart the cycle with the next project, ultimately completing the year-long goal. So now we'll go a little bit deeper into each stage, and we'll start with forming. Again, this stage happens once a year. It's the foundation for the team, and it's critical for team buy-in. It's the time to set intention, align on purpose, and create systematic protocols. The TL is leading during this phase. So what happens? First, context is shared around the school and team's history, and this occurs during the summer. Then a year-long goal is set that's aligned to the school's mission. This also occurs during the summer. And then there's brainstorming and mapping out of projects that will lead to achieving that goal. And that occurs during the fall, as well as initial forming meetings between the TL and the impact team. It usually lasts about 1 to 2 meetings, and final approval from admin must be completed by September 30th. The resources you'll use to complete this section are Background Information and Goals tab and Project Summary tab in the Impact Hub. Key indicators during this stage include trust building, understanding the why, norms, creating positive relationships, getting to know each other, modeling vulnerability, risk-taking, engagement, transparency, and backwards planning. The next stage is planning. This is the beginning of a new project. It is crucial to spend time planning before implementing a project, and the TL is also leading this phase. During this phase, the team will research project potential, analyze the current state or need, and divvy up responsibilities and lenses. We suggest about 2 meetings for this. During the first meeting, looking at the current state, and during the second meeting, setting up logistics, creating a timeline, and divvying up responsibilities. The TST resources you'll use during this time are the individual project document. And key indicators of this stage are trust building, creating decision-making processes, solutions-oriented when managing conflict, accountability, and backwards planning. The next stage is execution. This stage is where the project is getting done. At this time, the real work is happening outside of the meeting time. Meetings are reserved for feedback, solving issues, and ensuring accountability. During this stage, the team is actively working on the project, for example, doing the observations or creating new rubrics. The TL should be delegating and distributing leadership, holding people accountable, encouraging healthy conflict, and giving feedback. This typically lasts 1 to 2 meetings, but it may continue into longer term depending on the type of project. The TST resource you'll use here is the individual project document, and key indicators of this stage are accountability, distributed leadership, team check-ins, team roles, and responsibilities. The final phase of the project cycle is reflection. This stage is the time to look back at your project summary tab and reflect on if the goal was met, the need was filled, and the roles and responsibilities were followed. During this stage, the team celebrates successes and reflects on the process and outcomes. They decide what lessons they learned, what went well, and what they'll do differently next time, and then they share out learning to the school community. This also typically lasts 2 meetings, with the first one being more about reflecting, and the second one being more about sharing out their learning. The TST resources you'll use during this time are the individual project document and the project planning summary tab. This is where you'll track completion of each project after reflection is complete. Key indicators of this stage are admin check-ins, cycle of inquiry, feedback, and reflection. After reflecting, the project cycle restarts until the year-long goal is met. So how does TST fit into this? We know that every school has a different context and different needs. And because of that, there are some things that will look the same across all TST schools and some things that will differ based on context. Here's a chart showing the TST way and the areas where there's flexibility. We'll start with virtual coaching calls. We do ask that they occur at least twice a month via Google Hangouts. That said, there's flexibility. You can connect with your TL even more often via other methods: text, emails, visits, treats, you name it. In terms of coaching notes, the TL and the coach work together on each call to fill these out, but you get to choose the format. This year we've given you the option of choosing an Excel format or a Docs format. For the project summary tab, your TL will update this during the year and link all individual project documents here. There's not a whole lot of flexibility in this case because it's best practice to frequently return to your strategic plan as an anchor for execution. For team goals, every impact team must have a measurable year-long goal, but it's selected by the TL and admin based on the school need. Similarly, for projects should be chosen that will drive your end goal and will build team culture, but ultimately the TL, the coach, and the impact team working together will brainstorm and select the projects that will work within their school. For the size of the team, it is best practice to have at least 4 staff members to get a variety of voices, but that size may be less depending on the organic size of a team. For the impact team, we do ask that there are at least 2 touch points per month from the TL. But depending on the context of the school, these touch points could be in-person meetings, virtual meetings, individual check-ins with all team members, or a mixture. For implementing the project cycle, this is critical, and there really isn't a whole lot of flexibility here because it is best practice to break down any goal into manageable sub-objectives. For the number and length of projects, we ask that at least 2 projects per year are completed, and the suggested length for the projects is about 1 to 2 months each, or about 4 meetings. That said, the length and number of projects may vary depending on the goal. for the individual project documents, it's really important that each of the 3 stages are executed for a successful project, and the individual project document will ensure that that occurs. So you can use this document either as a place to capture all of your notes and planning, or if you prefer another format, you'll drop links to relevant external documents into that document. Through executing each project and ultimately completing the year-long goal, TST hopes to build teacher leadership and strong school culture so we can retain our best teachers and ultimately impact our students' achievement generation after generation.